Your voice is like a beautiful instrument. When you play it really well, you will connect with other human beings and make an impact. However, if you don't play it very well, you'll get crickets. Good morning. We seem to have a sound problem. Let's see if I'm being heard okay. I'm just going to check my... Hello, good morning, everybody. It's 𝐿𝐸𝐴𝐧'𝐭 and I'm going live on Wednesday. And today it's all about how to improve your voice as an ESL speaker. Now, can you just do me a favor and put in the chat box underneath if you can actually hear me, because there seems to be a little problem with the sound and I'm not quite sure what it is. So if you can hear me, just pop it in the chat so I can check that out. Hello from Belgium. Hey, Chris, nice to see you. Hi, Tammy, nice to see you too. So it looks like you probably can hear me, I would say. Yes, yes, yes. If you can, just pop it in the chat. That would be awesome. So look, today, because there's a lot of people that come into my fold, regardless of whether it's Instagram or Facebook or YouTube, a lot of people are ESL speakers. That is English as a second language. Now, because people speak English as a second language, sometimes that can lead to some communication issues, especially when it's in a work environment, as many people need to speak English for work. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to cover the 3 areas that really let people down when they're speaking English. The very first part is the way that they're using the breath flow. The second is the articulation correction. Sometimes the consonants are not pronounced properly. And the last part is vowel shapes. Now, all of these make a massive difference when you're speaking. So that's what we're going to jump in today. For those that just joined us, my name is 𝐿𝐸𝐴𝐧'𝐭. I'm a holistic voice and presentation coach, and I help people from all over the world to speak with clarity, confidence, and conviction on any platform at all. It doesn't matter whether you are an ESL speaker or not. Now, excuse me, let's go into the comments to see who's here. Everything is okay. I can hear you. Okay, fantastic. Thank you, ladies, for chiming in. I really appreciate that. Okay, now, some people have never thought about voice coaching. In fact, I remember having a coffee with a very well-known businessman many years ago, and he said, voice coach? What does a voice coach do? Why do I need a voice coach? And I thought that was a really interesting question. So here's the thing. Some people don't need a voice coach. Some people don't need a speaking coach or a presentation coach. Some people don't need a confidence coach. But I would say that that's the exception, not the rule. Because here's the thing. These are the 2 things that I really help people with all over the world. Number 1 is the fear of public speaking or performing like this. This is a live performance, if you like. It doesn't matter whether I'm singing, I'm acting, or speaking. Some people have a massive fear around being seen and heard. That has to be eliminated first before you can even work on your skill as a singer, an actor, or a speaker. Now, the second thing is that most people, when they come to me, they're not happy with the way that they sound, and they're not happy with the way that they present or speak in public. Now, that can be from something as personal as not liking confrontation, avoiding confrontation at all costs, having your mouth shut or holding your tongue, as we say, which literally happens. When we hold our tongue, it's because we're fearful about what other people will think, how we will be perceived. This is a massive issue for many people. And here's the really interesting part about that. When I lost my voice years and years ago from vocal abuse and using it the wrong way, excuse me, I've got breakfast in my throat. What happened is I was very angry and riled up back then. I was not conscious like I am now. And what I found was that I was pushing, squeezing, and forcing my voice too hard because I desperately wanted to be heard. I desperately wanted to be accepted. And in my previous life, excuse me, that wasn't even an option for me. I didn't have a voice. I wasn't allowed to have a voice. That's why I have this book here. Find your voice. This is why I wrote the book, because you have a right to be heard. Your voice is a gift from nature or from God. You have a right to be heard in this life. So if you're in a situation where people are shutting you down, you need to do something about that. And you have two choices here. You can either put up with it and figure out a way around these combative, negative, critical people, or you can leave. Now, here's a little tip. If you leave, wherever you go, there you are, you follow yourself, and all those patterns of bad behavior come with you, which means that the conflict or the problem may not have been your fault, but the same people will come back into your life over and over and over again until you've learned the lesson. Oh my God, this is so true. So don't avoid the people that make your life crazy and difficult, because sometimes it's a lesson for us. How do I handle that? How can I change the way that I speak? How can I self-regulate? How can I self-calm so that doesn't keep happening to me? Because otherwise, you know what? You'll end up living in a cave. You'll end up living in isolation because you can't handle other people's energy. And that's just really, really sad. I don't want you to do that. Okay, now I've gone on enough of a rant. We're going to go over to content now. I'm really hot. That's why I've just put my hair back. So you're watching this on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and also on YouTube. So if you allow StreamYard to see your comments, I can actually show your comments and questions on the screen. So let's jump back to the comments for a second. Hello, good morning, Jed. I love this too. I love this topic. Great. I love this topic. We're going to jump straight in. And hello we've got Igloo from Facebook. I love that. And see, they're allowing the StreamYard to see their names. And good morning from Vera. Fantastic. She's on YouTube. You can see that I can see all those questions and comments. So let's jump into the three things that we're going to talk about today about ESL speaking. This is the first thing that always goes wrong. Now, this is interesting because it goes wrong for people who are English native speakers as well as ESL speakers. And here's why. When you are a little bit anxious or triggered, the thing is that we go into our head, we don't go into our body. What we need to do with our voice, is embody the voice, like literally just use your whole body instrument to speak or project or sing or whatever it is. It is not a heady activity. It's not a cognitive activity that gets stuck in the neocortex. No. And this is why when we go into nerves and anxiety, we get stuck and the breath stops and then we go into choppy mode. Now, I've spoken to some of my ESL clients, and interestingly enough, gee, it's hot in here. I'm sweating like a pig today. I'm going to get a little flapper. This is live. This is what happens live. You know, I can't find my air conditioning this morning. I don't know where it is. It's my little thingy is gone somewhere. Anyway, while I try not to melt off the screen here. This is the interesting thing. I was speaking to one of my clients who is Spanish spoken. Now, when she was speaking in English in our practice group in one of my live coaching classes that I have every single week, she said to me, I don't know why I can't think of the words. I'm really, really choppy when I speak. And I said, that's interesting. Why do you think that's happening? And she said, oh, well, because I have to think in Spanish and then translate to English. And this is a big problem for a lot of us. I speak Dutch and French, and I completely understand that that can be an issue. We're thinking in this language and we have to translate and see if we can make it work in another language. Sure. But here's the thing. She said to me, oh, the same thing happens to me when I'm speaking in my mother tongue in Spanish. Chop, 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 chop. Why? Because she gets nervous, because she gets a bit anxious and riled up. So when you get anxious and riled up, you go into your head, which means that the breath stops. So here's what I'm going to do with you today. I want you to take a nice big breath. And this is the simplest exercise that will help you speak smoothly and calmly. Put your hands on your tummy. I want you to say to me out loud, when I am speaking my belly moves in as my voice moves out. Take a breath. When I'm speaking, my belly moves in as my voice moves out. We're going to do it a few times together because it seems simple and very trivial. But when you're using your breath and grounding yourself, you will not, oh my goodness, you will not go into fight or flight. You will not get triggered. Let's do it again. This is my belly muscle. When I am speaking, my belly moves in as my voice moves out. Let's do it a few times. Put your hands on your belly. Your belly has to move towards the spine when you speak. It will keep you grounded and it will keep your voice smooth. What we're trying to do here is to connect all the sounds together so you sound like a native English speaker. Now, as I said, even if you are an English speaker, a native English speaker, people can go into choppy mode like that because they get stuck in their head and everything just chops up. There are way too many pauses. Now, of course, you can have the opposite problem and never stop at all and never draw breath or have any pauses, but that's a different issue. This is specific to people who get nervous and people who have ESL, who are ESL, English as a second language. Put your hands on your tummy. Big breath. When I'm speaking, my belly moves in as my voice moves out. Big breath. When I'm speaking, my belly moves in as my voice moves out. You can hear when you do that simple exercise that all of my words are connected. My consonants connect to my vowels, connect to my consonants, connect to my vowels, and the voice rides on what I call a rainbow flow all the way to the person who's listening. When you flow your words together, I call it flow speak. Put hashtag flow speak if this is helping you. When you use flow speak, it helps you sound confident and articulate and eloquent. When you try too hard and chop all those words up, it does not sound good for the listener. It's annoying and people will switch off. Let's go over and see if that helped anybody here today. Well, I fan myself until I find my air conditioning. Oh my goodness. Okay, Ice, you're going to have to remove some of these comments. Thank you very much. They are not allowed on my channel. I'm going to block them. There is no sex and no politics on my channel. This is a clean family channel, so we're going to remove those comments. So thank you very much for the people who are here to actually learn. For those of you who are here to spam, I'm going to actually block you from my channel because this is a learning space. This is a learning environment. And this is for people who are dedicated to business, dedicated to personal improvement. And if you're just selling sex on a stick and pushing people towards pornography, that is not useful in today's society. It is not useful at all. So please just remove yourself from the channel. We are going to remove all of those comments. And thank you to those people who are dedicated to improving their lives, improving their communication skills, and becoming a leader, because you're in the right place and we will get rid of any of the trolls that are hanging around, guaranteed. Right, that was all about breath management. If that was helpful, please put a comment in below. If you're, yes, thank you, Ice. I really appreciate that. Fantastic. Let's go on to number 2. If you've learned something about breath, please pop it in the chat so we can get rid of all those porn comments. Just put the breathing in the chat and let me know if that helps you. That's called flow speak. Number 2 is articulation correction for consonants. Now, many people who speak English as a second language get the consonants wrong. Here's what it's supposed to be. Now, I'm going to put some of these in the chat so you can actually understand what I'm saying properly. K, P, and T, for example. Let me show these. These 3 sounds are meant to be exploded out of the mouth. It's called an explosive or a plosive in phonetics. But I like to speak in human normal language because a lot of people don't learn linguistics and phonetics. So we want to keep it very simple for everybody to understand. That's the best way to do it. Now, excuse me, these 3 sounds, if you do them here, k, p, t, it's not K, P, and T. It's not. It's not voiced at all. If you think of a word that starts with K, like kite, if you do the letters singularly, k, I, t, E, all of those, kite, have a sound, except the E is a bit silent actually, but the K has no sound. K, k. The sound comes in with the I, with the vowel, chi, chi. See, the sound does not come in until the vowel. The same with the P and the same with the T. So here's the thing. If you understand that K, P, and T, k, p, t, are explosives, you will be clearly understood every time you say that. But if you do this, it's going to sound like K. Well, I don't know what K will be sounding like, but P sounds like a B when it's done incorrectly, and a T end up sounding like a D when it's done incorrectly. So I want you to make sure, put your hand in front of your face, and make sure that the P explodes with airflow into your hand. And the same with the K. K, k, k. And the same with the T. T, t, t. If there's no airflow coming out like this, the P is now sounding like a B. You're going to confuse your audience. If all your P's sound like a B, they're going to have to listen very carefully to see if you're actually saying what they think you're saying. And here's the thing. When somebody has to lean in and pay more attention, you are making your audience work too hard. People don't like to listen. We have very short attention spans. So make it easy for your audience to listen and understand you very clearly. And that means that the consonants have to be correct. All of the explosive have to sound like explosives. Now, the other ones, they are called explosives as well, but they're different types of explosives. I don't call them that because it's confusing to my students. So I call them swallowed consonants instead. So we've got D, G, and B. Now you can see that these are very different to the explosives. So if you do this, D, now it's voiced. G, now it's voiced. B, it's voiced. Remember, k, p, t is not voiced. So they are completely different. Now, people don't get this. And it's really strange that even English speakers like me, I went to school, I grew up speaking English, and I didn't learn all the things that I've learned about voice since I left school. I find it quite a tragedy because people need to learn how their best instrument in life works and how to play it, really to affect people's lives and to connect with other humans. It is so important how you use your vocal instrument, because if you use it well, you will get a lot further in life than if you use it poorly. I find that very ineffective speakers, they don't have good relationships. They have a lot of conflict. They suck at their job. They don't get a promotion. And it's all because their anxiety and the insecurity is holding them back from learning how to play their instrument to their very best advantage. If you learn more about your instrument, you will be able to fly in life. It's changed my life completely, the way that I speak and communicate. And it's all because I was interested in voice. I was interested in vibration. I was interested in holistic health. I was interested in personal growth and personal healing. And that's led me to becoming a holistic voice coach. It's completely changed my world. Let's jump back over the comments before we do a recap and then move forward. Yes, the breath exercise is really helpful. Fantastic, Chris. I'm so glad that you're still doing that. That is super, super cool to know. Now, so we talked about breath. This is rainbow flow to the camera. This will keep you smooth and connected when you speak and stop you being so choppy and getting stuck in your head. You need to control that breath. The second thing is the articulation. Make sure that the explosives sound like explosives and the swallowed consonants sound like swallowed consonants. If you don't differentiate between the two, people will misunderstand you. And here's the thing about misunderstanding you. If people have to think, what did he say? And they've gone into their brain thinking, What does he mean? Because that word didn't make sense in the context of the sentence. So now they've gone into their head trying to figure out what the heck you said. That means that they're now wasting time in their own head and they're not listening to you anymore. And you probably have continued talking. So now you've lost your audience. We've got to be very clear when we speak. If you're a leader, you need to be clear. You need to be projected. You need to be understood. That's the very first step before even working on public speaking skills. You need to be clear and you need to be understood. Now let's jump over to the last part of the training today, which is vowel shapes. Now, this is one of my pet peeves because in Australia, we don't really use the vowels very well. We speak like that. Everything sounds like really nasal and we don't open our mouth at all. And it's like really ugly, you know? Yeah, mate, how you going? If I spoke like that when I moved to Europe with a record deal in 1995, I would never have gotten anywhere in my career. Who on earth would book me when I was such a bad representation of myself and my nation? There's no excuse to sounding like a bogan, unless you're a farmer, and that's okay. But if you are a public speaker, if you are a public person, if you are in business, if you want respect when you speak, try to straighten up your vowels. It's the least that you can do. You don't have to sound British. Everybody has an accent. That's okay. But here's the thing. If I keep my jaw shut, the sound goes into my nose. It will sound nasal and whiny and very narrow sounding. And it's not an attractive sounding sound. There's a big truck outside, so I'm just going to move my microphone closer. This is live. Anything can happen. Shit happens when we're live. Can everybody hear me okay? Yes. Okay, good. So here's what we're going to do. Vowel shapes. These are the pure neutral vowels. It doesn't matter what language you speak or what country you're from. When you're speaking in English, these are the neutral sounds for vowels, not bogan, not American, not British, just neutral. They will work for any type of accent. Okay, so here's the first one. Ah. These are all the vowels. R, A, E, O, U. They're the basic singing and spoken vowels. R is a long shape. Look at my mouth. R. The jaw has to be dropped. R. When you drop your jaw, it makes a very big, rich sound. Normally, when you hear a very shy or insecure person speaking with a vowel, they do this. Ah. They're literally holding their breath instead of letting the air out. Remember the first exercise, go back to step 1. Otherwise, you'll end up speaking like this, like a valley girl from, California. We don't want to speak in our throat and we don't want to have a closed sound. You want to have an open, rich sound. Like a Shakespearean actor, they have amazingly beautiful, open, rich sounds. Incredible. And some of the best actors in Hollywood are from England who actually learned their craft, speaking craft, on stage in theaters in England doing Shakespeare. They became extremely good speakers. Helen Mirren is a beautiful example of one of those speakers. And also Dame, who plays M in, you know who I mean. She's a very, very famous actress and she played M in a lot of the Bond movies. Can't remember. Her name escapes me. Anyway, they have beautifully rounded vowels. So first one, back on track, Elisa, back on track. R, A, lifted, dropped. See the space? E, happy. O, sorry, microphone. You can go down. O, oo. Now in Australia, if you're saying oo, like pool, P-O-O-L, or school, S-C-H-O-O-L, people do it like this. School, pool. It sounds like, what's that smell? Ew, yuck, ew. It sounds like that. Really? Is that what you want to impart to another person? You want them to sound like you're stinky and whiny all the time? You want to round your vowels. You don't have to sound British, as I said. You just have to sound neutral. R, A, E, O, U. If you practice giving a little space to your vowels, your voice will improve tenfold. Believe me, It will improve incredibly. When I learned this, it blew my mind because we are not taught this sort of stuff at school. We're just not. We're not taught to use our vocal instrument. Yes, if you go to speech or drama or to singing lessons, yes, you pay more attention. I've been doing singing lessons, singing, dancing, drama, all of that, all of my life since I was about 11 years old. So I did pay attention, but I still didn't learn it as well as I did when I went back to school after the age of 35. It completely changed my life. So now I am on this passion project to make sure that your voice is heard, that your message is understood, that you leave a mark on this world because you're here for a reason, like I am. I'm here to inspire you, and you're here to inspire others and to help others change as well. That's your job. That's why you're here. So don't mess it up. Don't leave it on the wayside. Don't think that this is somebody else's job. No, it's your job. You're here for a reason. Think about what that reason is. I would love to inspire you to step up and get out of your comfort zone so you can make a bigger difference. That's why you're here. Let's jump over the comments before we shut down today because it's time to get to work. Thank you, Roger. It's nice to see you here. Roger, I know we've been around each other's orbit for quite a long time. You have a very soothing and beautiful voice. Thank you, sweetheart. English is my first language. And Dandelion, let me know if any of this resonates with you, because when we were talking about breath management, for somebody who is English as a first language speaker like me, sometimes we get stuck on our head and it gets very choppy. That can be very disruptive to your message. And the second thing was articulation. Even people in Australia and America and countries all around the world who are English speakers can have very sloppy articulation. They're hard to understand because they mumble or monotone. They don't use their instrument to their best advantage. Excuse me. And lastly, my goodness, I really should not eat breakfast so close to this show. Next time I will change that habit. They're nothing but issues today. Vowel shape is very important as well. So we really have to open our jaw a little bit more just to get that rich sound out. Remember, here's the final word today. Your voice is powered by airflow. If you're holding your breath, you're doing it wrong. Your voice is powered by airflow. The most beautiful voices in the world that you will hear, whether it's spoken or actors or singing, will have a balanced airflow. Guaranteed. You're not going to like voices like that because that's not a balanced air. Oh my God, Mr. Sheffield. It's really funny for a really short period of time, but oh my God, can you listen to that for a very long period of time? No. And the same with the singers who are, I am just a girl. If they're really squeezing and holding their breath, it sounds annoying. It sounds painful and sounds like they're in pain. It's, again, for a short period of time, for an effect, great. But for long periods of time, don't do that to people. They will be so pissed off and annoyed with the way that you're making sound. They're not going to be around you for very long, guaranteed. Last chance. For me, the voiceless stuff is difficult. Yeah. And that's probably because it's not something that you're used to yet. You need to really practice those, all those sounds that we do in class. So this is your last chance to have any questions. Pop it in the questions in the chat. We're going to do one more round of questions just before I take off today. But lastly, while you are still here, you're seeing this on the Voice of Confidence TV. This will be taken down within the next couple of days. So make sure that if you're watching it, #replay, pop in the chat exactly what you learned today. And if you have any questions for me before it gets taken down. Now, I have a special treat because we're ramping up to the end of the year. I cannot believe how quickly this year has gone. It's just crazy. We have about 6 or 7 weeks of classes left this year. So I've got a special event next week to tell you about my program that I'm running for a very special discount from now until the end of the year. So if you regardless of whether you want to join a program or not, this 2-hour training is going to be my final 2 live streams for next week. They are live stream masterclasses, and you'll see them on this channel. Now, to get the information and find out when and what link we're going to be using to live stream out, then all you need to do is register below. One of my assistants will put the link below after I'm finished this live today. And once you see that link, all you have to do is click on it and go to the landing page and have a look and see if it's for you. Now, because the end of this year is now all about voice, I'm really focusing on voice this year. And the reason is this: there are many people that need public speaker training. Absolutely guaranteed. However, the first thing that everybody really gets stuck on is fear of public speaking, which is in the body and in the mind, which we need to eliminate first. And the second thing is that they don't have voice skills to really project and speak clearly. These are the 2 things that hold them back the most before they even move on to speaker training or on-camera training or whatever it is. So let's fix those 2 things first. Now, next, I think it's Wednesday and Thursday, but you'll see the link below. I'm doing the last 2 masterclasses for the year. And then we shut down for Christmas around December 16th or 17th. And then there's a whole month off. So there won't be any live streams. There won't be any live classes for that whole time. So if you really want to start next year well, then come and join at least the 2-hour program. It's going to be a great training program for you. You will go away with a lot of aha moments. The feedback that we get from these free trainings is absolutely incredible. So if that's all you can afford, come to the training. It'll do you good. And you can hang out with other like-minded people with a growth mindset, which is awesome. Now, if you are ready for the next level and know that coaching and feedback and accountability would really help you move to the next level, then at the end of the 2-hour training, I share with you a little bit about the classes that I teach. And then that way you can decide, do I want the short 6-week class to help me really gain good voice skills? Or do I need a longer term program like 4 months or 6 months? Now, to be honest, most people need a longer term program, because think about this. If you've got all these habits, speaking is habitual. I want you to write that down. If you've got all these habits, you mumble, you monotone, you stutter, you stammer, you're a bit afraid of public speaking. You learn a lot in 6 weeks, but it takes a little while to change a habit. The reason is this: you've been doing something in a certain way for probably 20 years or more, maybe 30 or 40 in some cases. You've built up habits over time, which has become your personal reality, the way that you speak and behave in space. But when you realize that you can change your habits, you can change your behavior, you can improve your personal reality, as Dr. Joe Dispenza calls it, you can improve that. You can do it with training and feedback, and you can get there. It just takes a little time. I've been on a personal growth development journey trajectory for more than 30 years. I'm a bit of a slow learner, and that's okay, because of all the things that I had to undo. It took me some time. I don't want it to take that much time for my students. That's why I pack a lot into a very short program. Now, what you do with all of that information and magic is up to you. It's how you implement it that will change your life. So it's up to you to take action and implement. So think about what action you're going to take today to gain your voice of confidence. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is 𝐿𝐸𝐴𝐧'𝐭. You're watching this on the Voice of Confidence TV. Oh, absolutely. That would be awesome. Thank you. Chris says, can I make some promo for the masterclass in Belgium on my Facebook profile? Yeah, of course. That would be awesome. Thank you, Chris. What I'll do is we'll make sure that we share the links down underneath this and give you a thumbnail and everything. And that way you can promote it out to your friends and colleagues. Now, Chris is an educator. So she works in Europe at a European school in education. These skills, voice skills and public speaking skills and on-camera skills, are absolutely imperative if you are a leader in your field, which Chris is. So thank you for showing up today. Thank you for gaining skills around your voice so you can actually step up and have that voice of confidence too. I'll see you next time.